Let's say hi to Todd in Phoenix. You're on the Michelangelo Signorile show.
Hi, Michael. I have a great respect for you, and I love your show. I was kind of frustrated yesterday listening to your show as well, and mostly because, I kind of voted half and half for myself. And I have many gay friends, and pretty much all of them that I know voted sort of half Republican, half Democrat. And my issue that I had yesterday, why I was so frustrated, is that it was your inability to sort of, even to one guy you said, I won't even agree to disagree. We're all not the same as gay people. We don't have the same priorities in terms of our lives, how we view certain things. You like to say, you're treated like garbage and dirt, and gay has to be the number one issue in our lives. Sorry, but that is not true. That may be the way you see it, but for many of us, it's not. Gay is not everything. It's not the.
Oh, okay. So you're not treated like dirt. You have full civil rights in the society. That's just my point of view on that.
In my life, and as a voter, as an American, and as a gay American, I have the right to vote however my conscience.
Well, you didn't answer my question. You have full civil rights. Are you in a job in Arizona where you cannot be fired because you're gay?
No, not at all. I am openly gay. I don't have any. I do not feel any. And
they can't fire you because you're gay.
No. I mean, maybe they could, I guess.
Yes, they could. Yes, they could. Right, you have no civil rights in Arizona. And tomorrow, you may lose that job for another reason and need to get another job. And your being gay is a reason why they don't have to hire you. Why do you think only of your situation right now, this moment, and not about what may happen to you in the future, what has happened to other people, what is happening across this country with kids committing suicide? Arizona had a horrible and disgusting ballot measure campaign banning marriage that I promise you drove some teenagers to suicide. You understand that?
Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. I don't know. Who knows? A lot of things drive teens to suicide, gay and being bashed and everything being one of them. I mean, the point I want to make with my call is that as a gay American, as an American, and as a voter, I have the right to vote.
Todd, nobody said you don't have the right. But I have the right to tell you that it is wrong-headed, it is stupid, you are in denial, you want to believe that you have some sort of equality, but you don't.
I'm sorry that the world isn't as pessimistic as you see it in my life. I do not feel like garbage and dirt. I don't want to get married, so the gay marriage, to me personally, is not a huge issue. And that's okay.
It's not a question of whether you want to avail yourself of marriage or not. It's whether or not you have the right to do it. Are you an equal person in this society or not? Do you know that in 1978, gay men were dancing on the dance floor and having a great time, and 10 years since Stonewall, and they believed they were liberated and free, and they believed that they had full equality. And then you know what happened? A disease came on the scene. It was called AIDS. And they suddenly saw that they had no rights in this country, that the president of the United States, Ronald Reagan, was in the pocket of the religious right. They saw themselves demonized and attacked, and they died. And that's when they learned, many of them, unfortunately, it was too late, that they weren't free and they weren't liberated. You're dancing on your own 1978 dance floor, Todd.
Look, you can call it selfish. I call it my right to vote how I like.
Okay, Todd, thank you. It's your right to vote the way you want. Rex in South Carolina, you're on the Michelangelo Signorile show.
Hi, Mike. I'm calling about Todd, and I used to be Todd years ago. Back in the 90s, I was with my partner. He was on his deathbed. He was dying, and we had formed a life together. So we had an attorney, and we got all this paperwork and everything done. My partner didn't die, thankfully, but we weren't as protected as we thought we were. We had a will, we had a living power of attorney, we had a power of attorney. We thought everything was all well and fine. But until you had your show where you had Rosie come on and explain why it was important for gay marriage, I just had this in my mindset, I don't really care. None of this is really important to me. But I listened. It was that show with your interview with Rosie talking about her lawsuit and how she got on board with gay marriage and why. Because she explained it very well. Maybe you need to replay that for Todd, and maybe he will get on board with it too.
Yeah, well, and Rosie may be listening. Maybe she remembers back to that. Well, I want to thank you for the call, and guess who's on the line right now, Rex? Rosie. She was listening, as I said. Hi, Rosie.
Hi, Mike. How are you?
We're doing good. Did you hear how your interview on this show had inspired Rex?
Well, it's interesting because before my lawsuit, I felt the same way that Rex felt. I felt like, why is this such a big deal? Can't we have a different name? And Evan Wolfson came to my house and tried to explain to me the importance of you're in another country and, God forbid, there's an accident and you have to say, well, it's my civil union. And it's not a word that is known all over the world. But still, I wasn't really moved until I got sued. And when I got sued by this multimedia conglomerate magazine company, they were allowed to call Kelly and depose her. Even though we were married in the state of California and it was disavowed, they were allowed to call her and force her to testify against me when we're not allowed to do that to the man from the magazine who had been in all kinds of problems in his relationship and marriage and whatnot. So the fact that you don't have the same legal rights, that they were allowed to call Kelly for 3 days and badger her for 8 hours a day, to try to break her and break me to settle this lawsuit that was ultimately thrown out.
Right. And you realize that if you were heterosexual, none of that would have happened.
It is illegal for a heterosexual spouse to testify against their married partner. But it is perfectly legal for them to do that to gay people. Even gay people who were, quote-unquote, married at the time by Gavin Newsom, right?
And another thing about what you're saying, that original caller, Todd, was trying to say, well, I don't want to get married. I don't care. It's not my issue. Well, that's how you're feeling now. But you don't know what's going to happen in your life down the road.
Well, exactly. And even if you're in a monogamous relationship and you're not married, and God forbid you get sued, they're allowed to take the person you live with, who you may have been with for 8 years, but you don't really feel the need to get married, because some people don't, and they're allowed to interrogate them, and force them to testify against you. I mean, that's a pretty big deal,
Right.
I don't think that there's any way that some gay people who aren't for the marriage equality, for them to understand it if they can't wrap their head around the fact that even if you don't want to get married, you still should be afforded the same legal rights. And the only way to do that is to allow us to equally marry.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. I am so glad that you were listening, Rosie, and you...
Honey, I listen every day.